Hi, my name is Anne, and my action project revolved around obesity stigma and weight loss capability. So what I hoped to achieve was to help people achieve weight loss through discussion of obesity stigma. And I wanted to do this because obesity stigma is so prevalent in our society today. Now, obesity stigma is defined as negative weight-related attitudes and beliefs that manifest as stereotypes, prejudice and discrimination towards people because they are overweight or obese. And I found that when I was looking into the concept of stigma, that it turned out to be a much larger concept than I had originally anticipated. And that might be something to think about when you are picking your own subjects, that sometimes something that you think might be straightforward can in fact be very complex and take quite a while to really understand fully. So for my own project, I decided on a framework of stigma that would include labelling, stereotyping, separation, status loss and discrimination. And theory also shows that our own beliefs, our own attitudes and our own behaviours are influenced by those around us. So if you're adopting negative attitudes and beliefs that are around obesity stigma, then this can have consequences. And what I wanted to do was investigate those consequences on self-concept, on self-esteem, and on self-efficacy. So the hope was that then by raising awareness of these consequences, that we could intercept the emotional response, and that we could then generate a behavioural change that would hopefully occur in weight loss. So what was involved? Well, I went to people that I knew, so they were obese and they were having difficulty losing weight. And I had a discussion with them around obesity stigma, and then I had a second discussion with them a week later. I had it in my own home so that it would be somewhere safe and an environment that people would feel comfortable in disclosing, and I did it through unstructured interviews. When I say unstructured, my first discussion was, the only question I had was, what do you think of the word obesity? And no questions formulated after that. But I did have the framework of stigma and framework of consequences in the back of my mind. However, in the second discussion, I thought because the first discussion went so well, that would happen automatically in the second discussion. That wasn't the case. Because I didn't have that framework that I had initially, it really was too unstructured. So I would suggest, if you're doing something similar, have something in the background just in case. For the outcomes, I asked them to fill in a little questionnaire for me on their life satisfaction before the first discussion and then afterwards, just so that we could measure it, and another one to determine the effectiveness of that format of discussing obesity stigma. Did they think it was any use at all? So what did I achieve? I would say I achieved a platform for expression that it allowed people to open up, and what happened was people opened up more than I actually thought that they would. So I knew these people, and I haven't heard them say things like these before. So it's really important to remember when it comes to particularly sensitive topics, that people like to help, and sometimes they say a little bit more than maybe even they wanted to, or that you expected them to. So always keep it in mind, and be very respectful of people's feelings. I increased awareness. Whether I increased awareness in the way that I think, I'm not sure. I think myself and the person that I was discussing it with had a different perspective on what we mean by awareness. So it would be important then to think about all the different aspects of your project plan. If you've got a few things going on that you're quite clear on what it is that you hope to achieve, this still might happen. You still might get different perceptions, but I don't think I spend enough time on that because I spend so much time on stigma. So what did I learn? I learned to be flexible, that yes, set your targets, but that things might happen and you will need to reassess them because not everything goes according to plan. So once you have your plan clear, then at least you can look at it again and readjust it if necessary. When you're doing singular discussions, you need to make the appointments very early on, a couple of days beforehand, to confirm, because people cancel and you might need to cancel. And if your time frame is very limited, you might find that you get stuck. But don't worry, because everything that you do has benefit. So even though I didn't get to do exactly what I had hoped to do. I didn't get to do anything to do with weight loss, I didn't discuss it really, but, you know, it was still beneficial up until that point, because it's still a contribution to knowledge, and it's still a work in progress. So what I would do differently is I would certainly allocate my time more proportionately and set myself more specific time targets to get through each section of the action plan. So I'd be very clear about what it is I had to do and what others had to do. Being more aware of the possibility of disclosure by some people of deaths that maybe you might not have anticipated. So just to be mindful and just to be careful of, you know, and respectful of what people might say. And be realistic. The time frame is short, and if you have huge plans, then you're probably not going to fit it all in. So break it up into smaller targets, try and reach those targets, and be realistic about what you can actually do in the time that you have to do it. And remember, the process is as important as the outcome. Thank you.